everybody, welcome back. So, we're talking political today. We are going to take a look at the crazy stuff that is going on in the world that I am going to be completely honest with you. I 100% do not agree with at all in any way, shape, or form because guess what? The first thing that these people are going after is the safety of our children. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. There are a lot of things that I will tolerate, but endangering kids and spreading misinformation and denying science, I cannot, in any way, shape, or form, bring myself to be okay with that or to endorse it or even respect it. For one, I will not ever personally be able to bring myself to respect anybody who is going to let any kind of harm come onto their children, even in any way, shape, or form at all. Okay, that's just my opinion. I cannot allow that. I don't have children, and I'm physically unable to have children, but at the same time, I have godkids. I have a lot of children in my life, and if anything or anybody ever tried to hurt them or tell them that they can have an unneeded surgery or convince them to let said person harm these kids in any way, like, you are not manipulating any of my babies, you are not hurting any of my babies, I will take someone out. Anyway, I have a few TikToks and stuff that I have pulled together in a sweet little string that we are going to take a look at, and yeah, gonna be honest here, actually really not afraid to get any kind of hate from what I'm about to say or show you guys because I've kind of stopped caring a little bit, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. So, first off, we're going to look at this one.
No, your mom don't get it, and your dad don't get
This
it. Uncle John don't get it.
actually makes me sick.
And you can't tell Grandma 'cause her heart can't take it, and she might not
There
make
is
it.
absolutely
They say
no way,
don't
shape, or
dare, don't
form
you even
where
go
this
there.
child
Cutting off your long hair, you do as you're
is
told.
going to say, yes, this is my choice. I'm a trans baby. Like, this kid doesn't know what a phase is. This kid's not going to sit around and try to learn how to do this specifically for a TikTok. Just no kid's gonna sit there, no kid's going to be able to articulate what these lyrics mean, put this together and say, oh, hey, this is exactly how I feel all the time. A child's not going to be able to do that. A kid's not going to sit there and listen to the meanings of lyrics. When I was a kid, I didn't know what 99% of the songs that I was listening to meant. I just thought that they had pretty sounds. Children today, like, kids are not able to pay enough attention to be able to articulate all of this kind of stuff. And y'all actually think that this baby right here is sitting there like, yes, I resonate with this song. I'm going to learn the lyrics to this song and make a TikTok and actually figure out how to sync this up and have my dad behind me showing how supportive he is. That's not supporting your child, honey. This is 100% this is child abuse. Like, you are prompting this kid to do this. That's what this is. You are prompting a child to do a performance so that you can earn money from what they are doing online so that you can get some kind of you the parent is the only person who is gaining anything from this. I sincerely hope that there is not any kind of medical anything going on with this kid because if this man is willingly going to chemically castrate his son, put all kinds of different surgeries on their baby. This is their baby. This is their baby. This is the child who you are supposed to want to love and protect and think the world of. And this crazy person is willingly harming their child. Specifically for some kind of. I don't even know what this is for. But this is messed up. I can't even. And there's this one.
I am 10 years old. I use they, them pronouns, and I am transgender non-binary. At what point do I go from being someone you protect to someone who is a threat, not based on my heart or any of my actions, but just based on my genitalia and your ignorant ideas of what you think who I am means? I deserve to age without fear that the bathroom and change space that allows me to feel safe and at peace will be taken from me. I deserve to become an adult that has freedom to use a change room I need. I deserve this right now and for my future. I urge council to allow all transgender people access the bathrooms and change rooms they need, because when trans adults thrive, trans kids survive.
Well, let's play that back really quick.
Because when trans adults thrive, trans kids survive.
When trans adults thrive, trans kids survive. This is ridiculous. This obviously was not written by a child. There is no universe. There is absolutely no universe in which any 10-year-old is going to be able to sit down, articulate this together, and this is not a 10-year-old's language. No 10-year-old speaks like this, for one. No 10-year-old. At 10 years old, yes, saying I'm a girl might not be a phase, but a 10-year-old can definitely be convinced from a young age that they were, like, no. I can kind of get at. You need to be at a certain age. You need to be at 18 years old to at least be able to have the idea of being able to articulate things. I don't personally think that you should be able to medically transition children until they have at least reached the age of 18 years old, because at the end of the day, they are children. They don't know what they want. They are babies. And there is absolutely no way, shape, or form that a child wrote that speech. Just the linguistics alone. There is no way. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen. No kid's going to sit down and say, I urge the council. They would literally have to be trained to speak like that. An adult wrote that speech, gave it to this child, had literally picked the best reading kid in the class who might possibly identify as trans. We don't even know if this is really a trans kid. This is literally just once again, this is child abuse. I honestly think that kids need to grow up with specific gender roles just for their mental health alone, so that they can understand certain things, and then they are able to think. Like, you can think about this, you could talk about this stuff, and you can have all of the conversations and such as you're growing up. But you don't take it seriously until you have noticed and began to acknowledge that your child is becoming their own person, and they are able to put together their own thoughts and feelings, and they are able to articulate these things. Until that point in time, This kid is a kid. They're a baby. Babies don't get to make decisions for themselves unless it's, hey, what do I want to eat today? And even then, most of the time, you don't, like, especially like a little kid, like a 5 year old. If you let a 5 year old decide what they want to eat on a regular basis for every single meal, you know what they're gonna say? Oh, I want goldfish, I want Doritos, I want chicken nuggets, or something stupid like that. Like, they're going to want all of the unhealthy, easy junk food that you feed them because it's full of chemicals that make them want it. There's we have to have a line because this is not protecting children. This is harming our children in a way that is not acceptable. And the last line there, when trans adults thrive, trans children survive. That's this speech was not written by a child. This speech was written by a predator who wants to be able to go into the opposite gender's children's bathroom. That's what I'm getting from this, based solely, only based on the end of the speech. This is, and I'm going to be completely honest, there are a lot of people who are trans who are not predators. They are actually trans. They have body dysphoria. They actually need to transition. Like, it makes them feel like who they are. I will acknowledge that. I will respect those people. I will always respect the people who, when they grew up and became articulate enough to know what they wanted and knew how they wanted to be in life, they started taking hormones, they started medically transitioning in an adult stage. I will always respect those people. I will always try to respect those pronouns. But there are a lot of different things that I will not accept when it comes to people trying to just push themselves into the trans community when they are not actually trans. Like, people who are saying that they are trans and they're not actually transitioning. I do not think that gender non binary should be a thing because that's just confusing. I'm sorry, that's just confusing. And adding all of these extra thousands of genders, you are confusing children. You are changing the English language, you are confusing children, you are changing definitions of things just to suit what you want it to suit. And this is not in the name of accepting everybody anymore. This is no longer become in the name of accepting everybody. This has become in the name of accepting, I don't even know what. It's not even acceptance, it's just forcing everyone to respect everyone. And respect is not forced upon anyone, it should be earned. You don't get to demand respect. End of story. But this one, this one is the one I want to talk about.
You do not need to take hormones
Yes,
to
you
be
do.
trans.
Yes, you do.
You do not need to have surgery to be trans. Only you know who you are. The point has never been to pass if you identify
No,
as transgender, then you're
I
trans.
do not agree with
And
that.
F anybody who says otherwise.
Because there are a lot of trans identifying people who are not actually trans, who are just using it as an excuse to be a predator or to try to force everyone to respect them for no reason, and I am not accepting that. I will not respect anybody if they have not earned my goddamn respect. End of freaking story. It's that simple. I'm not doing it. It's not gonna happen. And I'm sorry, but when it comes down to it, if you are not taking your hormones, if you are not actually going through the process of transitioning and dealing with the actual issues that come along with being a trans person, then you don't get to have an opinion on this unless you are just flat blatantly supporting a real trans person. Speaking of fake trans people and their fake bullcheese and their fake science and their fake agenda, because I'm sorry, but just because you say, oh, I want to transition, but I don't want to do all of the permanent stuff, you're not actually transitioning, honey. You do not. Okay, there are a lot of trans people who I can give my full respect to because they are actually trans. They're actually trying to put in the work to transition because they literally feel in their soul and in their spirit that they are the wrong gender. They have taken all of the steps to try to become that gender. I will respect that. I will respect that. I will respect that. But if they are demanding respect from me for no reason, I'm gonna get a little bit pushy. Like, if somebody says, oh, you have to respect me just because I'm trans, I don't have to respect you because you're trans. I can respect you because you have gone through a lot of different difficulties than I have. I can respect you as a human being because you act respectable. But I'm not going to respect you simply based on your gender identity or the fact that you're asking us that. Like, gay men and bisexual men and women and lesbians do not demand anybody just don't demand respect based on their sexuality, simply based on their sexuality. So why are you demanding respect simply based on your gender identity? That's not okay. And if anybody who says otherwise, I have been told a few different times that only horrible people and demons don't listen to anything that the other side has to say. I'm listening to you. I'm hearing you out. I'm saying that you're stupid. If you actually think that, you might be mentally ill. Like, you might have a mental illness that you're not dealing with because you might need medication. Maybe either that or your medication isn't hitting hard enough, honey. Something's going on here. Something's wrong. Next on the totem pole.
Yesterday, a man identifying as a transgender woman decided to take advantage of the system and our own community by entering the women's bathroom at a Planet Fitness and starting to shave. I don't want to make being transgender a beauty contest. I'm very aware that I'm not the most passable trans woman in the world, but
this is what
we
I'm
need
talking
a line
about.
drawn in the sand somewhere so things like this don't continue happening. And I already
You're right.
know the woke side
You
of
are
the
right,
trans
honey.
community is not going to like my resolution, but I think
There's
trans
nothing you're saying that's
medicalism
wrong.
needs to be a thing. We need to
It
implement
does.
it into law somehow. If you aren't aware of
Absolutely,
what trans medicalism
because
is,
I don't
it
feel
basically
safe
just
with
means
people
you need
like
to
that
have
man
gender
in the world.
dysphoria to be trans. The woke crowd really loves to push this narrative that you don't even have to medically transition anymore to be considered transgender.
You do not need to take hormones to be trans. You do not need to have surgery to be trans. Only you know who you are. The point has never been to pass. If you identify as transgender, then you're trans.
And it makes it so we have people that don't transition at all, that have never touched hormones in their life, say they're women and enter women's spaces like the bathroom or women's gyms. And unfortunately, I just don't agree with that because it creates situations like the one we're talking about today. Someone that's actually dealing with gender dysphoria, like I was, is going to go out of their way to make a medical transition.
Yes.
Anyone else
exactly.
that doesn't deal with that, that's just identifying as trans, doesn't fall into this category.
No, they
and
don't
I feel like
at all.
legally speaking, for who can have access to
way,
women's
shape,
only
or form.
spaces, this
And
is the way we can draw that line. And I already know people are going to be like, oh, how are you going to implement this into law? My license has said female since the beginning of my transition, right? What if we made it so you had to be on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, for a minimum of 1 to 2 years before your license can legally be changed? That way, their ID can prove whether or not they're a valid trans person. I already know a lot of you are going to tell me I'm crazy, but tell me this wouldn't
You're not
deter
crazy, babe.
predatory men from taking advantage of the system. And it would also protect not only biological women, but also trans women. Like literally, this protects everybody.
This is just protecting females in female spaces. End of story. Like, I don't know what else to say about this except for this is literally just trying to protect somebody. This is just protecting female spaces and protecting biological women in female spaces. That's all that this is. I cannot. No, I can't disagree with that. Okay, and because we have just talked about the insane predators who have figured out how to falsely identify and try to force their way into areas. And I'm not saying that all people who are gender neutral are falsely identifying or that they are just trying to force their way into female spaces or that they are just trying to force their way into male spaces. But what I am saying is that there are certain things that just need to be addressed that haven't been being addressed, such as the risks and concerns involved with just the mindset alone that we have we have no choice but to allow everybody to enter every single space that has been gendered. That is not the reality that we should be living in, because that just makes a broader area for actual predators to exist. Now, because we have looked at actual people who should not be listened to and some of the downsides that should not be ever a part of transitioning, we are also going to take a look at an actual trans person and how they feel after they have transitioned. And yes, they did transition at a very young age, but we don't know if they medically transitioned at a very young age, which would probably cause them to not be as happy. But at the same time, we have to accept these lovely individuals for who they are, no matter what. Because, yeah, we just have to. It's not. We have to be kind to other people. And we have to be kind to people who deserve it.
Happy Trans Day of Visibility. I am trans and proud. I transitioned when I was 10 years old, and now I'm 22, living more than half of my life authentically as me. Today is a day to celebrate trans people being here, to celebrate trans people being proud of who they are. Being trans isn't a choice or a phase. It's simply choosing to live your life authentically as who you are. That's the only choice that's being made. I want to send love to all my trans brothers and sisters. I'm so lucky to have you as part of my community and my family, especially in the time that we live in right now as people are trying to take trans rights away. It's very important for us to stick together and share our stories. We're here. We've always been here, and we're not going anywhere.
So, I would like to say that for a lot of kids, when it comes to children, especially young kids, like really, really young kids, the whole just saying that I'm a boy or I'm a girl, it can be just playtime or it can be goofing around, but in preteens and stuff, it can be just a phase. I went through a trans phase. It didn't last very long. But you know what? I've always identified more as a female. I have always been a feminine being. I like being a girl. I have always thought that it would be easier to be a boy. That never made me trans. And I've always liked boy things. That doesn't make me trans. I thought that I was for a short amount of time, but I wasn't. And I am very, very glad that nobody gave me the choice to medically mutilate myself and to chemically castrate myself and put me on hormone blockers and testosterone growth, because I would not be the person who I am today. And I love who I am today. I am glad about who I am today, because the reason that I was feeling those things was not what I thought that it was. It was mostly due to family stuff. But that's beside the point. This woman is obviously extremely comfortable in her own skin. I am so glad that she is happy and thriving and that she is happy being the person that she is. I am amazed by that because of how young she was when she started transitioning. However, If there was no actual medical procedures and such involved, then I'm a lot less surprised, and I'm very happy that she was able to start having her medical procedures and that she was able to become the happy, wonderful, beautiful, lovable woman that she is. I'm very proud of every woman that has had the ability to do that. But yeah, this individual is beautiful. I'm so glad that she is able to be happy in her life. And this is like an actual example of a happy trans person who is really, like, they're not there just to be a part of a movement. And that's what a lot of this woke bullcrap is. You guys don't actually care about trans people. You don't care about trans rights. You're literally just there so that you can be a part of a movement and try to get clout and attention online. That's it. And it kind of makes me sick. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't actually care if anybody sees this video. I just needed to rant. I needed to rant about this. This is it because it's ridiculous. And then there's this. We're back to the babies. We are back to the babies. I am absolutely sorry, but there is absolutely no universe in which it's ridiculous to actually think that this little baby between the ages of 5 and 9, like, yeah, 4 years ago, and this little baby they is 9 years old now. 9 years old. And this man is trying to say, oh, my child made the decision that he wanted to be a she. I would like to thank my daddy for letting me be who I wanted to be. At 5 years old, no 5-year-old no 5-year-old is gonna say, oh, thank you for letting me be who I wanted to be. No kid's gonna think to articulate that. Those parents told this child to say that. That is what I'm getting from all of these trans children, these trans babies on TikTok. Because, yes, you can kind of know at that age, but you can't articulate it like that. You can't. There is no such thing as a parent and child on social media where 99% of this is not scripted. This kid is like. This is a child actor. This is a child actor that is being manipulated and into thinking that they're trans and being made. This person is being forced by Jonathan Jolly to pretend to be a girl on TikTok just so that he and his wife as parents can take money from them getting views and such on TikTok. Somebody tell me that this is okay, because it's not okay. This is not alright. Anybody who is doing this to children is on the exact same level as the M.A.P people. You are a fudging monster. You are a demon. You are a demon if you are doing this to your child. You are confusing your baby. You are forcing ideals and thoughts into their head that they are not actually having, just so that you can make money online. You are making your child a provider so that you can get attention. You are sick. You are sick individuals, and you need to be fudging stopped. And all this crap about California, I keep hearing about how California has been made a safe state. Do you know what being made a safe state means? It means that they are going to be taking away people's children if they're not gender affirming their children, they're going to take them away. If you don't look at your 5-year-old and say, oh, yes, I'm going to start medically transitioning you as soon as you say, oh, mommy, I think I might be a girl, then they're going to take your kids away. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they're implementing. That's what they're calling a safe state, is chemically castrating children. And I mean, yeah, I understand wanting trans people to have a safe area. Trans adults. We should not be including children in this. We should not be having it like discussed with children if it has anything. And I'm sorry, but people should have a test. People should have to take a test before they are allowed to have kids. And if you don't pass that test, you should be chemically castrated. Because you're going to try to do it to your baby anyway. You fudging animal. You are. People like you. You are the reason that the world is going to crap. You are the reason that we are going backwards in time. It's disgusting. Oh, happy Pride Month. This is a baby. This is a baby. Next. So, this girl. I have seen this girl here a few different times. Me coming out as trans to my mom and being so happy that she accepts me, and in literally the very next pan, realizing we don't test the Bechdel test anymore. I'm absolutely certain that this is just comedy, because this is a girl, and I have actually seen her TikTok a lot, and she is LGBTQ, but she's not trans. She's, I don't know. I don't know, maybe she's non-binary. I don't know. I don't get it. It's, I don't know. I don't think that we should need all of these labels. I know that I'm a I shouldn't. I like whammons. I have my Peter and I love my Peter, but I do for the most part like the whammons. Anyway, I like man and the mans and the whammons, but I don't know what she was doing with this one. Honestly, I'm gonna be completely real here. I really don't know what she was doing with this one. So next, we are going to be talking about the science denying. Trans women do not, cannot, and will not experience a period. End of story. Period. I like that. You guys don't get your periods. You have hormone fluctuations. This guy.
Once a month, trans women will experience what is known as a
don't,
period.
therefore you don't
Some
have a
astute
period.
viewers might notice that most trans women don't have a uterus, let alone an ovaries or
No, you're
anything
not.
along the lines of that.
You're
But
not.
that doesn't change the fact that they are experiencing a period. There is one of three things at work here, and two of them are the same. The main one is they're experiencing
PMS.
Now, people who experience PMS are
PMS
anyone
is
with
premenstrual
a
syndrome.
hormone
If you
cycle
don't menstruate,
similar to a woman's,
you're not
this
getting
includes
PMS.
trans women, cis women, and intersex people, or they're experiencing postmenstrual dysphoric disorder. Men can actually even experience what is similar to a period because of their hormone cycle.
Okay, so I do want to talk about the hormone cycle thing. I do. I do want to talk about that for a second, because you can't. Trans women can have a type of a veritable hormone cycle, but it also depends on when they get their hormones and their estrogen and such, and what type of estrogen and hormones and such that they are taking. If you get your injections either like once every 2 weeks or once a month, it's going to seem, because you have that extremely high level of estrogen in your system, as if you are getting a period because of the high hormone fluctuations, because of the heightened estrogen. And that's literally just all that the only thing that's going to cause is you are going to get moodier. And that just means that your emotions are like more emotive. Like you get sad, you get sadder, you get angry, you get angrier. Like that's all that is. That's all that is for trans women. If you are cramping, if you are bleeding, if you are having back pain and such during your hormone fluctuation times, I do not know what to tell you, but that is not scientific, that should not scientifically be a thing, and you need to see a doctor because there's something else going on. It is not a period. I do not know why you think you are getting periods. You need to have a uterus. You need to menstruate in order to get PMS, premenstrual syndrome. That is sheerly a biological female thing. You have to have specific, be born with specific parts to have
man
that
has
happen.
a high amount of estrogen in their body.
I've
they
heard
will
that you
have
are now
irritable male
able
syndrome, I
to
believe is what the name is called.
get a
What a fun
female
name.
uterus
right
put
now,
in. I don't know.
My
about
body
that, but
doesn't have a uterus in it. But my body still thinks I do.
No, it
it's
doesn't.
called a period because that's what it's colloquially known as. Linguistically, we're not going to sit there and be like, I'm PMSing every single time. We're just going to say, I'm on my period.
No, you're not.
When you're feeling under the weather,
you're
you
not.
might say, I have the flu.
You're not a woman, so
You
are
probably
not a
don't have
biological woman,
influenza.
so you do
I
not
know
have a
conservatives
period.
hate this, but it's
You
not
don't
pedantic
actually
to say
have
I'm
that
on
cycle
my period.
of.
It's not wrong to say
It is
that
wrong.
either.
It is scientifically incorrect. Okay, now we are going to get into the only person on the internet who identifies as trans who I truly hate as a human being. I don't like him. Mostly because, I'm gonna be honest here, I do not know. It's Dylan Mulvaney. I freaking hate everything about Dylan Mulvaney. And here's why. I don't know if this is actually how he thinks. I'm going to call him a he because I do not think of Dylan Mulvaney as a female in any way, shape, or form, because all that this person does is make fun of women. Every single thing that I hear come out of Dylan Mulvaney's mouth is just some kind of weird stereotypical thing that 11-year-old boys think about girls. And he's not saying, oh, I'm turning into a woman. He's saying, I'm turning into a girl. That is fetishizing. That is fetishizing. If you are not doing some kind of crazy satire comedy about trans people, then you are obviously just a fetishist and you do not belong in this community. You don't have actual gender dysphoria. You are getting off on pretending that you are a little girl, or what every 11-year-old little boy's idea of a girl is. I hate Dylan Mulvaney. And not only that, but he is making fun of trans women. Real trans women are not running around putting their panunu in women's faces and saying, oh, you have to accept this. They're not running around with a bulge hanging out, looking like front poop, saying, oh, you have to accept that I have a penis and I'm a woman. No. No, because real trans women don't do that. They try to hide it. It's not okay to run around to have your... Okay. It would not be acceptable for me as a female to run around with my shirt off and my cha-chas flopping out just as much as it is not okay for... No. I'm just saying, just don't wear a flowy skirt, wear some sweatpants. You can style anything to look cute. if you're not going to tuck it in or like figure out a way to hide it, tape it down, do something to try to make it halfways invisible, put on some baggy shorts over your bikini bottom because we can see your dong. Your eyes are, everybody's eyes are automatically going to gravitate towards it because it's right there. Nobody's going to be able to not do that, and you like that. That's you. That's Dylan Mulvaney. You like that. I hate Dylan Mulvaney. He is a predator.
Day 31 of being a girl, and I'm freaking out a little bit. I haven't gotten my period yet, okay? I'm late.
This is all just an act.
I mean, I haven't kissed anyone in a while, but still, like, we know what
well,
happened
that's
to
not
Virgin
going
Mary,
to make
okay?
you
It's
miss
possible.
anything.
In all seriousness, no, I can't get a period. But my doctor did tell me that the estrogen I'm taking can cause me to become, like, kind of hormonal, emotional, like 3 to 4 days out of the month. So watch out.
Yeah, only right
and
after
this is gonna
you've
sound
taken
shocking,
it.
but I wish I could get a period. I wish I had those parts just because I would love to be a mom one day, but I'll just figure out a different way to do that. And that's going to be okay. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. And to any woman that doesn't have a period, I'm with you. To any human that does have a period, I'm sending you love and relief. And I have tampons and I bought pads and I almost bought Diva cups, but that's where I drew the line. Okay, I love you.
Now, these
Bye.
are the words of somebody who has no idea what it is to be a female, to have a period, to go through that type of pain, to actually have the hormone fluctuations, to actually deal with all of the crap that comes with having your period. This is delusion. This is flat out delusion. And yes, sometimes Delulu can be the Salulu, but not in this case. I just don't like this man. This woman, this whatever they want to be called. I'm not going to call him a girl. I will call him a trans woman. I will never, ever, ever say girl to Dylan Mulvaney. Sorry, but in the great words of Miss Doja.
Yeah, bitch, I said what I said.
Anyway, we're gonna move on. Okay, so this is once again another trans woman who says that they get their period as a female or as a trans female. You don't get your period. Let's hear what they have to say, though.
The truth is that trans women do experience periods.
No, you don't.
Not all trans women experience periods, but they do. It does happen.
Not all of them do,
I
because
myself,
most of y'all
because I
are
can only
rooted
speak for
in
myself,
reality.
and I would never try to speak for anybody else. Have a very regular one. It's trackable. I've been tracking for about a year. Most of the time, it's nothing really bad. Usually just a little bit of back pain or just some extra moodiness. But sometimes it rolls through like a tempest, and I get lots and lots of cramping and back pain, like the last 2 days, where I ended up last night in a ball on my couch curled around my IKEA shark. Yes, I have an IKEA shark, and so should you. IKEA, you can sponsor me anytime you want to.
So, I don't know why you are having these cramps. Once again, I do not know why you are having these cramps. Just like this one. The first intense period after HRT. This isn't real. This is obviously just some dude in a Party City wig. Like, this here is obviously fake and acted out. But I'm just going to say, if you are actually having cramps, if you are actually having back pain, if you actually are having some stomach issues, like some really bad stomach pain down here, if you are actually going through that, then you need to go talk to your doctor and try to figure something out, because something else is going on that is not from estrogen. You are a male. You do not have testes inside of you. It's not there, honey. You need to see a doctor because that is not what is happening. And the doctor will talk you through it and try to help you, but you are not having PMS. You are not cramping from a period. You are not getting back pain from a period. You don't have a period. You don't menstruate. End of story. Trans men have periods. Trans women don't have periods because they do not have the parts to have periods. And I know that y'all are going to get mad at me for spitting facts, and I know that people are going to be very, very upset that I tell the truth and that I'm actually defending children. But those kids aren't able to stand up and actually fight for themselves. They're already being manipulated into fighting for adults who are just trying to force them into their ideal whatever. But no. No, I'm not okay with this. We're not. No. You guys can get mad at me, but I really don't care. The next one is our last one for the day because
trans rights are human rights, and right now those rights are being overwhelmingly infringed.
No, they're
The
not.
rise in
They're
anti-trans
opening up
legislation,
quite a bit
hate
for
crimes,
the
and
adults.
calls for their eradication is a grave concern that demands immediate action to help safeguard our communities. We absolutely cannot allow our trans siblings to endure this kind of hatred and oppression. Not now, not ever. Some of you might be wondering what exactly I'm talking about, and one such example is a recent Tennessee law, which prohibits gender-affirming care from transgender minors and restricts adult cabaret performers from performing in specific areas, like near a school.
Okay. Don't know what to tell you about this old fella, but, cabaret performers doing drag and such is a fetishized area that should not be open to children. Kids should not be watching men run around in lingerie and Party City wigs. No. That's a fetish thing for adults. That is not for kids. End of frigging story. And no, that should not be allowed around schools. It's the same way that strip clubs aren't allowed within a certain area of schools. And guess what? Else? Do you know what else isn't allowed within a certain distance of schools in most places? Liquor stores, alcohol stores, places that sell alcohol. They're not supposed to be around schools and children's areas. Do you want to know what else isn't supposed to be around schools and children's areas? Want to guess? Do you really want to guess? Bars, cannabis shops, anything like that. It's not supposed to be within a certain distance of a school. And there are reasons for this. There are reasons put in place for this. sex shops are not within certain distances of schools for a reason. There's a reason put in place for this.
Also other examples like in Texas where the parents of transgender children can actually be put up on charges. This dangerous anti-trans rhetoric is spreading throughout the United States.
Yes.
As evident like in the recent CPAC event where speakers like Michael Knowles called for the eradication of transgenderism from public life.
But
these hostile attitudes are the first steps towards a very familiar pattern. History shows how Yahtzee groups have often scapegoated minority communities through propaganda and marginalization policies, leading to forced labor, deportations, and far, far worse. Now, some people have floated the idea of petitioning the Canadian government to allow trans people to come to Canada as an asylum. But that option might be challenging or outright impossible given financial status or the legalities around it. And also Canada's position, right above the United States, often leads us to follow exactly
we don't
what
want
they
that
do.
happening.
Canada might
not
not be
here
as
in Canada.
viable
We
of
are
an
not
option
allowing
as
children.
some people think
If
it
we
might
start
be. Trust
allowing
me, Canada
children
is nowhere
to
near as
transition
bad
in
as the
Canada,
United States, but
I'm
it's
leaving
certainly
Canada.
not a
I want to
bastion
go
for
somewhere
trans
else. I don't want to
rights.
be here
Don't
anymore.
get me wrong. I'm not trying to
I will
dissuade
no longer
anyone
be
from
a
doing that.
Canadian.
In fact, I think you probably should do it if you think that
I'm
you
done.
are able to. But that being said, Canada is going through a lot of the same issues
I will
right
go
now, so
anywhere
you have to keep
else.
that in mind when you're making a decision.
Anywhere.
Some
I
people
don't
have
even
also
care
brought up the
anymore.
idea of moving to California for asylum, and if you're
The West
unable
is
to
a
leave the United
cesspool.
States, that
Done.
might be a viable option. But if you can't afford to get anywhere, or the legalities behind it don't allow you to, then there are some other options that we can talk about. One solution is mutual aid. If every single mutual aid organization isn't working in some way to help protect their trans allies and members, then they need to start now. We need to be providing resources, support, and community spaces. I'm talking food, financial assistance, legal aid if possible, and maybe even safe houses in places where this is really coming down hard. For those of you out there making posters, zines, videos, we need to be educating people. We need to be talking about how specific groups have been targeting people now and in the past.
Ugh! This is disgusting. This is disgusting. And why is a man over there yelling about children transitioning? Children should not be able to medically transition. That is wrong. You are chemically castrating them. You are making it so that they are going to have a harder life. What if they don't actually want to be trans? What if they grow up and change their mind? That is an irreversible decision that you as a parent have made for them. That certain places in the government are making for them just because they or the school said, oh, hey, this is what we think is going on. No! And I'm sorry, but if the school is getting involved, I don't think that the school should have anything to do with children's sexuality or children's... They should not have anything to do with it. That should be a conversation for their parents. And once again, I say most of these people shouldn't even be parents. You should have to take a test to be able to have kids. And if you don't pass that test, you yourself should be chemically castrated, because obviously, if you're going to do this to your kid, then why don't we do it to you? You demon. You evil, evil, evil human beings. And y'all are gonna say that I don't have a soul because I'm pro-abortion and I don't think that we should be chemically castrating children. Oh yeah, no, I have a soul. You're gonna say that I don't have a soul and that I'm a demon? Ha! Guess what? I am not the person who is over here on this weird... Like, I'm too right for the left and I'm too left for the right at the end of the day, because yes, I am pro-abortion. I don't think that trans kids should be allowed to medically transition. Yeah, sure, we can support them through their stuff as they're getting older, but we should not be, like, changing everything about them. Like, we do still have to get them the stuff for their proper gender just in case they aren't actually feeling that way. Like, we do have to be fully affirming. We can't... You have to see that they're children, they're babies. I can't with this. This is ridiculous. And why is it that there are people who are fighting for the harm of children rather than the protection of children? I'll never understand that. You guys can get mad at me all that you want for thinking the way that I do. Anybody can get mad, anybody can hate me, anybody can say what they want. I really don't care at this point. Think what you want. I'm actually probably going to sit around and laugh about it. Please say something in the comments. Give me some give me something to laugh about. Make me cackle like the lovely little witchlet I am, because I can't with this. I can't. Anyways, I love you guys. Peace in the Middle East. Everybody needs to accept everybody. We need actual equality in the world. We need to protect our babies. actual equality for everyone. Protect our babies. Let's stop moving backwards in time. Just enough is enough. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.